Before I begin, I think it is my duty to tell you a bit more about myself. After all, you are about to give your valuable time to listen to me. I was born on Jupiter and raised on Mars. I came to the Earth about, I think it was 450 years ago, during the time of the defeat of the Spanish Armada. Historians should make a note. My spaceship landed on the Spanish fleet, and that is why the English won. Last century, I invented a time machine and decided to explore. But the timelines were getting way too complicated, so I ended up gifting the machine to Cleopatra, who in turn gave it to Julius Caesar. Now, the Romans did not know how to use it, so it was sent to fight with the lions in the arena. Time machines are peaceful creatures, so it went down without much of a fight. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but currently I work for the secret services of 7 different countries. Okay, I'll admit it. It's just 6 countries now. I had to quit the KGB last week in order to make time for this event. I could tell you more about how I lived inside a T Rex for 14 days, or how I discovered magnesium, silicon, and sulfur all at the same time. But I think now you know enough about me to know that you really don't know much about me. The one thing that has been lacking in my speech up till now is, except for humility, of course, is honesty. And that brings me to what I want to talk to you about today. Honesty is the best policy, according to me, is the first quote a human being learns in his life. It has only 5 words, and two of them seem to rhyme, so why not? It is also the quote that has held the spot of the thought of the day the most number of times in my school life. But I think that honesty is more of a dream than a policy. A policy is something people follow, after all, and it is something they can benefit from. Let me tell you a story to explain what I mean. This happened during a time when we were filing our answer sheets in school. As if giving exams is not enough, we are made to neatly ready our answer sheets for our parents to view. It's like making preparations for your own funeral. Anyway, a girl from another class came to us to ask for a punching machine. Now, teachers here would know that filing time is the time of glory for punching machines who otherwise lie in a dusty cupboard all year round. So, naturally, our teacher asked her how many papers she needed to punch. And she said without hesitation 30. At this, our teacher declined and she went forward on her hunt. After she was gone, our teacher said 3 words. He said, should have lied. Even after a lot of deliberation, I was not able to find out what was wrong with those 3 words. If she had lied, she would have gotten what she wanted and nobody would have been the wiser. This was the time when I actually thought about a quote I had long believed to be true just because it was in our life skills books. And I realized that the truth too can put you in tricky situations at times. And even now, some people will come up and say that honesty is the right thing. Well, I've realized 2 things about what's right. Firstly, power decides. And in very dystopian worlds, power can also decide what the truth is. For example, the genocide of the Jews was a crime against humanity and a war crime, but the dropping of 2 nuclear bombs was neither. Had the Allies lost, it would have been the other way around. And secondly, everyone believes they are right. Hitler believed he was right, and that makes the world a very dangerous place. And no clear definition of wrong is the reason that I think fake news has found a haven in our world. If someone receives a message on WhatsApp that complies with what he believes in, he will click forward without second thought. He'll click forward without second thought. Midway into the lockdown, a message came on my society's WhatsApp group about how a boy from Puducherry had found a cure to the coronavirus. It said that the boy had mixed ginger and some spices, and there it was. Now, at first sight, I nearly burst into a laughter at this. But as I scrolled down, I saw something very scary. A number of people had replied with a thumbs up. Many were proud at India's progress. Only one person had said that the message should not be trusted, and these were educated people. I think what this says about us, about humans, is that we weren't wired to be logical beings. We were wired to believe. And that is why fake news has been added to our dictionaries. And while post-truths are very dangerous on their own, they can become even more powerful when combined with propaganda. Propaganda is when people try to plant an idea into your minds. It doesn't matter if the idea is right or wrong. It doesn't matter if it's a lie or if it's the truth. They simply want to prove that it is correct. Now, I'm sure you must all have studied mathematics at some point in your lives. And if you have, you probably have come across those questions where you had to prove that the LHS is equal to the RHS. Once, a question like this came in my math exam, but I was unable to solve it. I tried many different things, all things I knew, some things I simply had heard of, but I was unable to get to the answer. When I had given all hope up, my math teacher entered our class and said there had been a printing mistake. I was relieved, but one of my friends spoke up. He said he had solved the question. He had proved something that was incorrect. And there are a lot of people in our world that try to do the same, and we often fall into their trap. I'm sure you must remember the time when we were asked to clap for our frontline workers during the lockdown. And if you remember that, you also probably remember how some were trying to highlight the sheer brilliance of the move. They said that quantum mechanics and string theory dictates that if enough people clap, the virus will go away. And we heard the words quantum mechanics and string theory and came to the most logical of all conclusions, that our clapping will end the pandemic. What propaganda does is something like inception. It plants an idea into your mind. And to ensure that what I'm talking about does not go over your heads like inception did, let's do a practical right now. I'm going to ask you some yes and no questions, and you can raise your hand if you say yes. How many of you have had pests in your home? How many of you have had cockroaches or rats or lizards in your home? Please raise your hand. Okay. And have you wanted these pests to go away? Have you? Okay. If a rat were to walk through that door, would you get up and offer it your seat? Would you offer your seat to a rat? You won't, right? Now I have another question for you. How many of you are against the inhumane treatment of illegal immigrants by governments across the world? How many of you think that the separation of children from their families just because they are illegal immigrants is wrong? Please raise your hand. Okay, what if I were to tell you that you feel a hatred towards the pests in your home? So don't governments across the world also have a right to feel the same hatred towards the uninvited guests, towards illegal immigrants? Now all this may seem logical. And if I add to this a bit of nationalism, India is for Indians, America is for Americans, and a bit of fear. They will take away our jobs, they will mess up the healthcare system, then you will probably be convinced in the real world. The Nazis came to power and stayed there not just because of oratory skills or because of emotional speeches, but because of an effective use of propaganda. We have another question to answer. Do we have a defense mechanism against lies, fake news, and propaganda? Well, luckily for us, between the 1700s and the 1900s, for about 200 years, I did some research on this question, and I came to the most astonishing of all conclusions, that we do in fact have a filtration system that can separate the lies from the truth. And it looks something like this. Yes, it is our brain. How many of you have used this organ before in your life? Please raise your hand. Okay, I had bought some user manuals that I was willing to sell for 1,000 rupees each, but I think that won't be necessary now. Critical thinking is one of those 21st century skills, right? And all schools are trying to incorporate these skills in their curriculums. But in my school life, the time when I have seen students collaborate, be creative, and think out of the box to their best ability is when I have seen them cheat during exams. And that says something. Critical thinking is one of those 21st century skills. But in the 10th standard, I have realized that it's also pretty much incompatible with the way we are taught. Numerous times in my classes have my teachers told me to stick to the NCERT. Once in a discussion about globalization, I said a point that was not in our book, and our teacher said, "What you have said is right, but it is not correct from an exam point of view." This has been a year where whatever was in our books was the absolute truth, and anything from outside, however true it may be, can get you no marks. And people think that this is the biggest problem with our education system, that it disallows students from thinking. But I think an even bigger problem is that it teaches students that you can live pretty good lives without thinking. And that is why reason is becoming a lost art. And we have forgotten to think in the past. If we forget today, it won't take us long to go from good morning and good evening to Heil Hitler. So, thinking will help you separate the lies. It will give you a filter. Now the question is what to do with this. Well, in the real life, you would find a dustbin to throw it in, right? But lies are abstract things. So all we can do is criticize to stop them from spreading. I personally have had a forgettable past with scrutiny. A number of people have held the job of finding flaws in me. And if these people were to form a club, I'm pretty sure my father would be its president. Now, to be honest, I did not always like him telling me how to do things. Well, to be really honest, I almost never liked him telling me I was wrong because I believed I was right. And you will say that a bad response to criticism is pretty normal among hormonal teenagers. But I think this problem is not teenage-centric, unless you count a number of our politicians and a whole host of other people above the age of 20 as teenagers. I mean, Vladimir Putin does not look like he's 17, right? And at times it can take a lot of courage to criticize the powerful. But only if enough people have that courage can we prevent authority from becoming authoritarian. Only then can we prevent rule by the majority from becoming majoritarian. Now this was all about the lies we tell others. Are there lies we tell ourselves as well? Yes, there are. I mean, even the Godfather, the head of a crime family, had to say, "We are not murderers, no matter what this undertaker says." And so we lie to ourselves. We need to sugarcoat the truth because the truth is bitter. We need to live in denial to live happily, and we deny living in denial as well. While writing this speech, I thought I would ask the audience the question, how many of you have never told a lie before? But then I thought of a possible response to this. I imagined that everyone would start looking at each other immediately because you know that you won't be the one raising your hand. And in the unlikely event of someone raising their hand, everyone would think that there itself is a lie. Believe it or not, lying has become a truth in the 21st century. We lie to countless people in our lives, and countless people in our lives lie to us. Politics functions by hiding the truth. The media too is not immune to dishonesty. While social media has become a medium of communication, it has also become a medium of spreading lies. And so it is essential that thinking and criticism also find a place in our way of life. There's this cliche that goes around: don't teach your children to be good doctors or engineers or good architects or good artists. Teach them to be good human beings. Teach them what is right and what is wrong. But I think that all you need to teach them is to think, and then they will be able to make that distinction for themselves. Thank you.